Hey guys, this is Jamie. So today I want to talk about something which has been sort of rattling through my mind, and this is pretty much inspired. Sort of, Cavernical has a very good video on specifically male role models and sort of how the world and what sort of young men and boys actually look at these days and what they unfortunately have to get inspired by. And the video struck a chord with me, also kind of obviously being in the same age bracket as he is, and the fact that I did a thesis about the manosphere, and I'll go into it a bit more later when we'll be publishing it. Um, because like I defended it, but I still need to get it published because I have been busy. So yeah, so basically, I really want to focus on the fact that obviously in the current world we need to understand that we are in a very sort of dark, very difficult time, and we already had sort of like a few years back it was already kind of worrisome, and the sort of idea of like who do people look up to weren't suddenly good, sort of the usual role models, even from the fact that it wasn't just like kids that want to grow up to be like firemen, doctors, vets, um, and everything. And it kind of went into celebrities, it went into sort of famous people, and now it just kind of went even further down. Not to sort of say that the jobs I mentioned were fine, but now we're going further down into people who openly abuse women who should be in jail, like Andrew Tate, and people who have, like, for instance, their psychologist license revoked, like Jordan Peterson. You have Ben Shapiro. You have Russell Brand, which went completely insane. And you have, for instance, like Russian influencers like Arsene Makaran, and you have all these sort of dudes sitting in front of a microphone and pretty much just spewing hate about women, and they rope young men in with sort of the promise of hey, I know what you're going through, like you're not getting a girlfriend. And because men sort of can't seem to find a role model, and these are the people which are getting rewarded by sort of high places like Donald Trump, or Elon Musk is also a big sort of points for people to look up to. Well, was even more until recently. So these people get rewarded. People think like, yeah, someone who doesn't care about what everyone else thinks, someone who's like a lone wolf or whatever, and those things, because they get rewarded and people think, okay, I want to be rich, famous, I want to have power, and they think like money will solve everything. And because obviously the worldview may not be as developed, or um, when it comes to kids, obviously. And then because even when you grow up and you think like, okay, like maybe you're broke, maybe you're single, maybe something's going on, or maybe you just want to look up to someone. So obviously, you see these people who are rewarded, you see these people who other men strive for, and then you end up thinking, yeah, I want to go and be like that guy. And the problem is that you shouldn't want to be someone who abuses women. You shouldn't want to be someone who just doesn't care about what other people think. And this is a thing that I just don't understand, because you're supposed to be compassionate, you're supposed to be nice, you're not supposed to sort of punch people in the face. So, of course, you're not supposed to talk bad about a whole gender for no reason. And the problem is that obviously people still do that. And this is applauded, this is accepted. We have this obviously in the form of intolerance like racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia. And then all of this has been sort of seeping into the trans community. Like, factually, I understand sort of if you are economically like right wing. I don't get it, but fine, whatever. Like economically, I'm not saying that you are again like if you just want economy sort of like about certain sort of government plans where the money goes. Maybe you want less taxes for a certain bracket, sort of less grants. Sure, fine, whatever. But if you are yourself are against immigration, if you yourself are against a certain type of human being, if you yourself are against a religious thing, a religious person, a religious identity, there is something wrong with that. Like, a person is not above any other person. Like, I really try to sort of sit down and be compassionate in these videos. That if someone has an issue with someone else, I really find it difficult to be sort of open about it. Like, if someone is willing to, if I'm willing to accept someone, they should be willing to accept me as well. Like, it doesn't matter sort of like for instance, I sort of find some solace in religion. If someone is atheist or from another religion, I will not blame them in any capacity. Or I'm gay, I don't understand people's attraction towards women, and I will never will. So obviously I will not understand sort of certain heterosexual dynamics, and I never did. But I still understand that it's okay to like women. And on top of that, I feel like someone who is gay, how to put this, who understands women even less and would not sort of sit down in front of a microphone on a podcast and say how much I hate women. And then there's someone who like loves women or is heterosexual, sits down and says like, yeah, women are property. That is not the way this works. We are people. People deserve compassion, people deserve understanding, people deserve deserve every compassion. You may not understand someone, but you need to respect them. And the thing I'm seeing in the trans community is that we're really going a very dark path. Like, we already have fights daily online or offline, like here sort of in the spaces where I live, there's a lot of sort of against toxic masculinity, against sort of dudes. There's a very strong sentiments against like phalloplasty at times. There's a strong sentiment against like some sort of like binaryism can be bad in a way. And I understand that I myself, like, I don't really enjoy the LGBT scene here as much because I used to be part of it and I really didn't like the ambiphobia in it. And I still kind of really feel weirded out, like when if I want to go to an event, like I sort of really look at the wording because I don't enjoy that they excluded like cis men from the past, because this is the thing that leads into threads which go online and then ends up spilling into the world, which go like, oh, trans dudes are different from cis dudes. And then it goes into the opposite of where, for instance, straight trans dudes might feel like, oh, I don't want to be part of the queer people because, you know, they think, because obviously they're there because of the fact that they were born trans, not because of them being gay or bisexual. So then they have a disconnect, and then they start thinking, okay, who should I look up to? And in general, like over the years, we've had so many threads on every fucking subreddit and on every fucking website and discussions in general where people ask, hey, what are your male role models? What are your trans role models? And people just sit down and they like say no one. And sometimes you'd be like, someone would mention a relative, you'd have certain trans sort of celebrities, but now it's just no one. People say that they want to be in their sort of right wing conservative circle. And again, If you are right wing, sort of in a economy way, fine, whatever, I don't get it. But if you're there and you say stuff like, "All my friends are white, but we never talked about race, therefore they're not racist," that's not how it works, sweetheart. And that is just factually, that is not even a step away from saying that you're going to be watching an Andrew Tate podcast or rooting for him to be fine. Like, the only thing that is stopping these trans dudes from becoming the next fucking misogynist down the street, which is going to catcall girls, is just the fact that they're trans. And the fact that they are throwing away this identity, sort of rejecting it, because it's not letting them fully sort of be accepted in their cis circle, is the only thing that is sort of keeping them from some rational thinking. And what I'm trying to say is the fact that they're being trans is sort of the only way that stops them from fully thinking like an idiot. I'm sorry, this is the way to put it. It's stopping them from being completely unhinged. And I'm sorry that this sounds like a rant, but if you think that being conservative, wanting traditional values in a way that will harm you and your female partner, that is not okay. If you want a sort of a traditional, sort of whatever, normative thing, whatever, fine. But it has to be done by choice, not because you think it is the right way. And that is very crucial because people have been spewing this down our throats, down social media, sort of, and that leads into homophobia, that leads to transphobia, that leads into self hatred, and that leads into very, very dark alleys. And I am just really tired, and I really just hope that, I know that obviously, of course, there are hypothetically trans men who already are in the right wing rhetoric, and I mean in the manosphere, to put it more bluntly and more correctly. But it's not somewhere we should be, and I understand that cis men, trans men are the same, obviously. But I just feel like because we have a certain difference in our human condition. So again, like I always say, like being trans is like diabetes, nothing serious. We need to understand that it just gives us the opportunity to be more compassionate. That's it. And it gives people a sort of test of character if they actually love us and if they actually stand by us. That's it. So I just want to say that I feel like as a trans community, we need to sort of start talking about more positive male role models and understand that it's difficult because we don't have a lot of very good positive men role models these days. And on top of that, like Cavernical said, like before we had David Beckham and you didn't know like sort of what was his political party, what his opinions were, you just thought of him as a football player, and that was great. And obviously grooming, as in like, I don't know, he'd have cool hairstyles and whatever. So I do want to say that it's very important to sit and think, first of all, if you're a dude and you're going for the rhetoric, like, what if it's bad to be a dude? It's not. Just think of men who you admire, who you look up to, who made a change. Like, probably my biggest idol, since we're going as well as trans dudes, I really appreciate Lou Sullivan, everything he did for the trans community and for gay men specifically, that he divided sexuality and gender identity from the diagnosis. It's very important, and he's great. So we really need to look up to certain people like musicians, writers, like I always looked up to the Beat Generation, Kerouac, Burroughs. Sure, they were kooky in their own ways, but still, it's you can still also appreciate someone critically as well. So that's kind of what I wanted to focus and what I wanted to emphasize. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry that this ended up being quite long, and I'd appreciate if you could share this and invite a friend on it. Destroy some friendships, get some convo going. So please feel free to do that. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like. Please feel free to subscribe. Also feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, think about it.